you, Senator Whitehouse. Senator Inhofe.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And while you're taking care of Senator Whitehouse's coastal areas, let's don't forget the most inland port that we have is in the Port of Catoosa in the state of Oklahoma.
I would never forget that port.
All right, thank you very much. We have 8 members on the Republican side that are also on armed services, and all 8 were there during your confirmation, their hearing on that. And so we appreciate the fact that we have that jurisdiction too. And I have one thing I want to actually specifically talk about because it's probably my greatest single frustration with the Corps. The cities of Sand Springs, Oklahoma, and Tulsa, Oklahoma, are protected by a levee system that was built in the 1940s, and the infrastructure is beyond its useful life. The system is in desperate need of repair and protects $2.2 billion in homes and business infrastructure along the Arkansas River, including 2 large refineries. Tulsa citizens have provided $15 million in funding for the project, but we're stalled in moving forward because the feasibility study needs a new start. I have it on good authority that the project was on the Corps' list to receive one of the 6 new starts that Congress appropriated last fiscal year, but in the end, only 1 new start was awarded. So the commitment I want to extract from you is that you'll commit to ensure that this project remains a priority for the Corps as Congress finalizes their fiscal year 18 appropriations to include new starts for studies. Can I get that?
Yes, sir, absolutely. You will get it from me. If it was one of the proposed 6 this past year, I can't see any reason that it wouldn't remain on that list. It will become a priority to me. And another priority to me will be the shape our infrastructure is in this country. Why are we limiting ourselves to 6 new starts proposed and 1 new start accepted? That's bothering me, and if confirmed,
Good. Well, that bothers me too. I appreciate that. Mr. James, several months ago, I joined with Senator King in introducing legislation to improve the permitting process for natural gas pipelines. That process has become more protracted and contentious in recent years, and often the biggest delays are from the multitude of federal and state agencies charged with permitting a proposed pipeline. The Corps and its state partners are key to permitting agencies in this process, and they need to be part of the solution. Will you work with us and with Senator King to improve the permitting process? This is the process you and I have talked about on critical infrastructure projects.
Yes, sir. You know, to me, a pipeline makes a very small footprint. I'm sure there's permits that have to be obtained from an environmental standpoint, and if it goes through a wetland and so forth. But I can't imagine that we don't have the technology now to monitor those pipelines to the point where if a leak or a crack or something develops, it can't be rectified immediately. Therefore, with that in mind, I would think that would enter into the permitting process.
Yeah, and with that answer, I will not call you a bureaucrat. And then lastly, we have a system of cooperative federalism. By the way, I have to say on the pipelines, in the last administration, you know, and everybody at this table here knows the problems that we had with pipelines. So I think that's part of our history now. We have a system of cooperative federalism that's been largely absent under the last administration. The Obama administration repeatedly tried to consolidate power in the federal government, taking away historically held jurisdiction. Most notably, well, it's already been once talked about, and that is the WOTUS decision that was made, the rule that's put forth in the last administration. And by the way, I'd remind you, and I think you already know this, that that rule was of the greatest significance to the farmers of America than any of the other of the regulations that they found. They have a system or a list of about 75 regulations that are harmful to our farmers. That was number 1. In my state of Oklahoma, I have no doubt in my mind, if you change that jurisdiction from a state jurisdiction. You get out in the Panhandle, a very arid area. I mean, the first rain that came along, that would be a wetland. And anyway, what is your view on the cooperative federalism and the state's role in regulating our water resources?
I believe in the federalism aspect of it very, very positively, 100%. I think that's the way it should be. I don't think the federal government should be here to take away the rights of a state. As far as a rule like WOTUS, I will have to tell you that as Assistant Secretary, if I'm confirmed, I will be bound to the rules and the laws that Congress makes or an administrative policy, regardless of my personal feeling about that rule or law or policy. That's what I'll have to do.
That's very reasonable. Thank you very much. Look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Senator Inhofe.